I've now fallen off the bed almost 5 times trying to do this. Let's see if this is the winning shot. Starting from back here is the trick. Whew. Hi everyone, my name's Brittany and I live in a van. Usually I'm with my husband Drew.
We just bought our first home! Ah, it's crazy.
I have dirt
Van
on
on
my
wheels.
nose.
You do. Can't believe this. It's our first home, babe.
Our first home, and we bought it overseas. This is a honeymoon unlike any other.
Yes.
After 5 years of vanning together, I decided to give 1 week of solo female van life a go. And if you're wondering where Drew went or how my first day alone was, go ahead and check out the link here. So before Drew returns, which is tomorrow, and stick around until the end of this episode because you guys are going to come with me to pick him up at the airport, I wanted to sit down and share with you guys 10 of the hardest things about solo female van life, at least in my experience over the past 6 days. Number 1, knowing/choosing where to sleep at night. Usually we use the apps iOverlander, and in Europe we used Park for Night. When it came to finding a spot at night, it was like this fun treasure hunt. Searching for a wild camping spot tonight. The sun's gonna set in about 15 minutes, and we found a quiet dirt road, but we don't know what awaits us at the end. We'll show you. Is leveling out our home, and this is where we will be tonight. First night in Western Sahara. Ooh, what about this one? This one has awesome reviews. This one has Wi-Fi. Perfect. But when it came to me being solo, looking for a spot to park at night felt more like a daunting task. I wanted to be close enough to a village, close enough to people that I knew. Luckily, we have friends around in the area. So yeah, I look forward to having my partner in crime back, so that can be a fun, exciting excursion rather than kind of a stressful new move. Gotta have you. I've gotta have you. Banking off of number 1, the second hardest thing about being alone in the van was not having Wi-Fi or cell reception. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Babe, hello? Shoot. Ah! I don't know if I can stand up being able to call him. Usually Drew and I will welcome those kinds of places for an opportunity to disconnect, to not be on our computers or phone. But for my first time being alone in the van, I wanted to be able to call someone if I felt lonely or unsafe. So I quickly realized that any spots where I wasn't going to have reception was not somewhere that I was going to want to be. This here is our WeBoost. So this boosts our connection, and it usually works pretty much everywhere that we go, though some BLM spots or places up in the mountains it doesn't. It's what makes our digital nomad lives possible. You might find it surprising to hear me say that I didn't feel lonely as much as I felt confused, which brings me to number 3, reconnecting with my inner dialogue. Which is part of why I wanted to do this solo van life experiment. It's been a long time since I've had nobody to run my decisions by but me, so being able to pour the confidence and courage into moving on with my life without relying on Drew, who I've missed so much, was a very good experiment. But there's a lot to be said about having a sounding board when nearly everything in your life changes every day and you're faced with an unpredictable amount of decisions. Fridge. Shower, compost toilet, ding, hallway locker, check, kitchen drawer, and a pantry. Along with not having a sounding board, I also was missing my co-pilot. Well, actually, I'm usually the co-pilot.
Batten the hatches!
Aye, aye, Captain! Usually Drew drives, and I'm the one who makes sure that all of the hatches are battened, everything's locked and loaded, but having all of the responsibility meant that maybe every once in a while something was forgotten. Like the pantry door not being completely shut and then going down a bumpy road and everything jumping out. And this is what happens when the latch on the door lets go in the middle of driving and you're so lucky that nothing else fell out. Like that one time a giant jar of curry sauce went all over the floor, splattered underneath the shoe cubby, underneath the compost toilet. It was such a mess. I was so frazzled I didn't even grab the camera to share it with you guys. Yeah. Can you believe that it's already time to change the battery on this guy? Luckily there's one charged. And in case you're curious, this is what our gimbal looks like. The camera sits right here. Which brings us to number 5. Not only was there no one to help with or add to the joy in filming. You ready, babe?
Oh yeah, adventure time.
Here we go. There was no one to help with the charging of all the batteries. I probably changed this GoPro battery like 3 times, the Sony maybe 5, and every time you change a Sony's battery, you have to recalibrate the gimbal, and Drew's usually the one who does that, and I've always taken it for granted. I'm learning 3 vlogging camera batteries and 3 GoPro batteries in total. 3's the magic number. And the drone. I missed having my drone pilot with me, but luckily, the morning before Drew left, we did a beautiful hike up to the top of Mount Falcon, and Drew decided to do a little send-off for you guys. Enjoy! You see that? Drew's charging cubby, and that, otherwise known as the attic. In my 4-foot 10-inch world, those 2 things are extremely hard to get into. But without him around, I've had to figure out ways to get up and in there. Got it. Not having someone to help me reach things. Oh, and open things. Oh, come on, coconut oil. Urgh, please. Number 6, cooking. At first, I didn't really feel like cooking anything at all, but then I decided this was my chance to make a batch of endlessly delicious food that could last me for a few days, that I could repurpose into a few different kinds of dishes, thus making my solo female van life experience a breeze. Et voila! 2 giant sweet potatoes transformed into a few delicious gourmet plates. Sweet potatoes, lentils, falafel, avocados. Oh, this looks good. And being that I'm the resident van chef, Drew is always more than happy to do the dishes for me. Which brings me to number 8, cooking and doing the dishes. When you spend your time cooking all the things, and then you eat, and then you have this food baby, and you're super relaxed and cozy, and then you have to do the dishes too. I do miss my dishwasher. Babe, I miss you. Come home soon. The dishes are waiting. Just kidding. Although, the dishes really aren't something to complain about because it hardly compares to the next task. Dumping the Pea Jug. Now's the time. Luckily, I only have to do this once. This is how it's done. I'm forever grateful that you take care of that chore for me all the time. Forever grateful. And last, but certainly not least, I've mostly just missed having my very best friend around. Sure, being able to starfish the bed is pretty great. And use all the pillows. Plus, our water supply has barely gone down at all. And quite possibly one of the most exciting aspects of solo female van life, no farts from your partner. Which could possibly be one of the hardest things about living in a van with your partner. Overall, my time alone in the van has been nice, but you know it'll be even nicer having Drew back in here with me. Just one more sleep. What do you say? Let's skip everything in between. You guys want to join me to pick him up at the airport? Let's go. The time has come. The eagle has landed. He's even got a pot of fresh lobster ravioli waiting for him. What a lucky guy. He's here
Alternative universe.
Drew's like, we're filming right now. Just came off a flight.
Strange.
Time to go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode and that it at least made you smile and showed you some insight into maybe what some of the challenges could be for the beginning of a solo van life journey. But that's just my experience, and I'm super grateful to have my Mr. Adventure back by my side.
And now we're off.
So do all the good things, give us one of these, check out our Patreon, and subscribe if you haven't yet. We will both see you again next week.
See you then, guys.
Thanks for keeping me company during my solo journey.
You got me good. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You got me good. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, babe. All I'm thinking about is when you come around. Ooh, ooh, ooh. 'Cause you got me.